Hello. Hello. I'm Brian Jacobs from Remax United over here in Warrensburg, Missouri. And I get a lot of questions being asked, and one of the questions I get a lot is from first-time home buyers or people who just don't know what the process is what do I need to do first in order to be able to get set up to purchase a house? So I figured I would go through the steps from the beginning of the process to the end of the process, and that way it's a basic idea of how it's going to happen and what we need to do. So the first step here is we're going to get pre-approved, okay? Now, if you have a bank that you use that you love, then go to that bank, talk to them, see about getting a pre-approval, have them what's called a truth in lending statement, and that'll give us an idea what their pre-approval is. I always tell people though, is the bank you fall in love with to do your banking with may not be the right bank for your mortgage, because we find that sometimes those banks charge $6,000 in closing costs, and we can go to more of a local mortgage type bank and get you around $3,000, if not less, depends on the value of the house. So, but get that truth in lending statement, and that'll give us a good start point. You can get pre-approved by more than one company as long as you're doing it inside of a 30-day window. It is not going to affect your credit report because it's considering shopping for an interest rate, so that doesn't affect you. Second thing is, and notice I'm going to say this is the second thing, is find yourself a realtor. Is find a realtor you can work with. If that realtor, everybody has a different style of how they do business. So you're going to have the realtor that's extremely aggressive. You're going to have the realtor that's more laid back. You're going to find a realtor who's going to open up the door, is going to walk you to the house. He's going to tell you this is a kitchen, that's a stove, here's your bathroom. You're going to have the realtor who stays back and just kind of follows you through the house. And then there's the realtors who will open up the door and stand in the kitchen and let you walk to the house. But know what style you want. Do you want somebody who's very aggressive when you're buying a house? Or do you want somebody that's a little more laid back who's going to walk you through the process? And when I say laid back, I mean relaxed, not motivated to get the job done, but laid back to a point that you can discuss things with them, you can talk to them, and explain to them how what you want. So the third thing is the search for a home. Once you found the realtor you want, you're going to sit down with them. You're going to go through the process of, okay, what are we looking for? We're going to have a pre-approval, and our pre-approval is going to tell us what we qualify for the loan. So we're going to know what that number is, what your top number is, what your bottom number is. Also remember that you may be pre-approved for $250,000, doesn't mean you need to spend $250,000. So if you're pre-approved for $250,000, but you only want to spend $150,000, well, let the realtor know that, and that's what the realtor should be looking for. If you have a realtor who keeps taking you to the things that are even higher because they know you're pre-approved, then look at that and decide if that's the right realtor to be working with. So, but you're going to want to have a list. You're going to want to have a list of your dreams, a list of what it absolutely positively has to have. Okay. So when I say that, is your dream may be an in-ground pool. Well, in Warrensburg, Missouri, chances of you finding an in-ground pool are pretty slim because there's not a lot of in-ground pools around here. So, so that's on your list of dreams. On the other side is if you have 3 kids, then a 3-bedroom house is probably a requirement, or a 4-bedroom house is probably a requirement. So make sure your realtor knows that. Also make sure you know what you're wanting. I mean, another thing I always tell them is that don't go in saying, I don't want anything less than 2,500 square feet. Because I've been in 2,000 square feet house that feel like they're 3,000 square feet. And I've been in 3,000 square feet house that you're going, where's the square footage at? So that's something you need to look at also, is how you're going to, is what it is exactly what you absolutely positively have to have, and what you'd like to have. I mean, I'll give you an example. When I bought my house, I was sent out on a mission. My wife wanted a window over the sink so she could look out the window. My daughter wanted a above ground swimming pool and a pink room. Just so happened that the house we bought had those 3 things. But now, would we have bought a house that didn't have those things? Yes. Well, according to my wife, the window was probably a no-go. But everything else was probably something we would have considered. But we did know that it had to be 3 bedrooms. We wanted a decent-sized house. So we didn't really have a square footage set, but it had to feel like a big house for us. We needed a good-sized backyard for our dogs. Those were things that were important. So know what things are that are important to you, and then know on that list, these are things that I can live with, these are things I can't. I always tell people is remember that square footage is very hard to add to a house. It can be done, but you have to have a land to put square footage on. So if square footage is a big issue, you probably want to make sure you find a house that has the right amount of square footage. The next thing on number 4 here is we're going to write an offer. This is where things get a little tricky. This is also where you're going to want to make sure you have a good realtor who is going to work with your style. So when you do that, you're going to want to go on there and do a you're going to want to write the offer. I'm sorry, I messed up there. But you're going to want to write the offer, and then when you write the offer, you're going to want to tell them this is, we're going to tell them a price that we're willing to pay for the house. Obviously, if we have a house that's listed for $150,000 and we give them an offer for $130,000, we probably got some negotiations to do. But this is where your realtor comes in. Your realtor's job is to help you through this process. It's an emotional process to you. For the realtor, it is a step in the process. It's not emotional to them. They're going to help you get through it. They're going to be able to, if they're good, they're going to be able to explain to you probably what's going on the other side, the conversations that are happening on the other side. We're going to work to get to the price. Don't get frustrated if you give them a number and they counter you. It's kind of expected you're going to get countered. Unless you offer them full price or something really close to it, you're probably going to get countered. Don't get frustrated with that. That's just part of this process. Your realtor understands this is the process, and we are going to walk you through it. So once we get the offer negotiated, we're then going to do what's called a home inspection. When we do the home inspection, we're going to walk through the home inspection, and we're going to have a licensed inspector who's going to go through it. We're going to have a licensed inspector who's going to go through that. And trading vehicles, sorry guys. But we're going to do what's called a home inspection. When we do the home inspection, we're going to go through the home with an inspector. I always tell people there's no such thing as a licensed home inspector in Missouri because there isn't a license requirement for an inspector. Now there are certified inspectors. I highly encourage you to get a certified inspector. Can mom and dad do the inspection? Yes, mom and dad can do the inspection. But we want to have somebody who is an arm's reach away. That's going to be your certified inspector. There's 2 different certifications. When you find your realtor, talk to them about that and have them explain what the 2 different certifications are. Once we have the inspection done, the inspector is going to walk you through it. They're going to tell you everything they found on the house, what needs to be, what they see, what they saw that was good, what they saw that might be bad. Then you're going to sit down with your realtor. When you sit down with the realtor, you're going to go through this entire inspection, and you're going to decide these are the things that I feel are important. These are the things that I'm not worried about. So to give you an example, home inspector might write up that the door has chip paint on it, okay? Well, if you're planning on painting the house, that's probably not something we're going to worry about. But now if the inspector writes up that the electricity didn't work downstairs in the basement, okay? That's something we're going to be concerned about. We're going to write that up on what's called an inspection notice and let the inspector know, or let the homeowner know, the seller know, that we want this repaired before we purchase the house. So we're going to write all that up as far as what you want. I also always remember to tell people is the house you're buying is not brand new. So just like buying a used car, there's certain things we're just going to have to deal with, but we'll decide what's really important, what's not really important, and that's your job to tell the realtor this is very important to me, this is not very important, and let's get that in there. I've sat down with people and they've said these are the things that are important to me, and I knew there was one more thing on there that could be an issue, and I'll say, I got those things on here, but here's something else that you may want to consider asking in the repair because we don't know what we're dealing with there. Once you're done with that, we're going to send all that down to the seller. The seller is going to do 1 of 3 things. They're going to agree to it. They're going to say, we'll fix this, but not this, or we'll give you a monetary price, or give you a monetary exchange for just buying the house. If they don't do anything besides say we're going to repair everything, then you have a right to respond back to that. And once again, this is part of that negotiation process that you need to work with your realtor to get through. It can be very stressful. It can be very frustrating. You're going to have mom and dad telling you something different. You're going to have friends telling you something different. Work with your realtor. We love mom, we love dad, but work with the realtor. So once all that's done and we got that all approved, then we're going to go to, then the next step is going to be the appraisal. The bank is going to send what's called an appraiser out. The bank's going to get out there to the appraiser, and the appraiser is going to go out there and they're going to say, okay, here's the house. Based on what is sold in the area, they're going to give us a value. What we hope happens is that value is equal to the contract price or more than the contract price. If it's not, then what's going to happen is we're going to go back to the seller and say, okay, the appraiser came back and they said the house wasn't worth what we're willing to pay for it. If that happens, then the seller either has to lower the price, the buyer agrees to pay more, to write a check for the difference, or we end up having to kill the deal. Majority of times, the seller is going to lower their price because it's just kind of how that piece works. If once the appraiser says a value, chances are pretty good the next appraiser is going to come in close to that value again too. So that's the appraisal piece. The other piece of the appraisal is say you're going out there for a VA loan or a Royal Development loan, then they're gonna look at the house and inspect it for those items too. There's certain items that the house has to meet for those things. If the house doesn't meet those, the appraiser is going to write those things down, and the seller has to get those repaired before we can close on it. That's going to be a bank required repair. Bank required repairs are a go, no go. If the seller says no, we don't have a deal. There's no negotiating on those. It's pretty much fix it or we don't have a deal. And one of the advantages is that if the appraiser says it has to be fixed, then you kind of have a little bit of an advantage because now it really has to get fixed, and the next appraiser could say the same thing. Last thing is we're going to get to the closing table. All right. At the closing table, we're going to sign a whole bunch of papers. I mean, the title company is going to explain it to you. They're going to walk it through for you. And as you go through this process, it could be a little scary, but the title company is going to take this step by step and explain to you what each document you're signing is. You can obviously read every document, but I'm pretty sure if you read every document line by line, you would probably turn this into a 4 or 5 hour closing, which I'm sure you don't want or anybody else wants. So they're going to explain the general gist of it. If you have questions, you ask those questions. They're more than happily willing to explain it to you, show you on the document where that is, and we'll go through the process. Once we're done with all that, we'll get the keys from the seller. We'll get the door, we'll get the keys, we'll get garage door openers, anything else that's supposed to transfer on the deal, we'll get all of that. Then the house is yours. And at that point, you're ready to move in. You'll get all your utilities transferred over. Usually you'll do that a couple days before the closing, so that way everything's lined up. But you'll get all the utilities transferred. You have all the utilities transferred over. Everything is yours. The house belongs to you, and you can get in there. You can do your paint. You can put the fence up. Whatever it is you're wanting to do, then the house is yours to do. So, but I'm Brian Jacobs from RE/MAX United, and I just wanted to take a few minutes here to kind of explain to you the process. If you have any questions at all, you can call me at 660-441-5302, or you can email me at bjacobs@remax.net, and I look forward to helping you out on your next purchase. Thank you.